Hello, everybody. It is me, Everybody's Confusing, and today we are here talking about That Time I Got Reincarnated as Slime episode 25. But according to That Time I Got Reincarnated as Slime's Twitter and also Crunchyroll's Twitter, this is episode 24.5, and I can see why. They're just using old footage over Veldora and Ifrit talking to each other the whole entire time, which I'm okay with. I actually am really enjoying this. This is all I could have asked for with the series. This is all I could have asked for. Just like, man, this stuff is my favorite part. When I'm done reading the manga, when I'm done like listening to the story, I can just read little short stories of Veldora and Ifrit's journey within Ramiro. But it's mostly in written form. But it's just I can see why they're only talking and how they aren't showing any pictures because there really isn't any pictures. Like it would have been cool if they would have done it over like current events. Like they started the flashbacks like after Ramiro like encompassed Veldora instead of encompassing Ifrit, which I guess it just makes sense anyways. But I really like it how like Ifrit is scared as soon as when he sees Veldora, but the Veldora ends up just acting like his usual self, just asking like Almighty, but in truth he's just like a very like just a very strange and just awkward guy that just wants to have friends and just wants to like experience everything that lower monsters experience. So then they end up playing shogi, and then the human explains it to Ifrit. So he's basically explaining it to us, the viewers. He ends up like telling like stories about like his fight with the hero, and it was cool seeing that. I think is that old footage or is that a little bit new? But it was cool seeing how they made it like a little bit of new footage. Like it would have been cool if it was just them talking in a like a blank room. But I guess this does save time to for them to just use old footage. So then after that, Ifrit ends up like telling Veldora about how lonely he is and how sad that would be, but then Veldora tries to hide his loneliness from him. Just seeing him just trying to like deny it so much and trying to be like so tsundere about it. After that, he pretty much is just like saying how good Ifrit is at like learning about shogi. Right now I'm only at 7 minutes in the episode, and then he ends up talking about how he met Ramiro, and yeah. That's pretty much all I need to talk about for the first 7 minutes. Not that much so far, but I'm enjoying it so far, so I can't wait to watch the rest of this episode and talk about it. Okay, I am back. I watched from about 7 minutes to about 13 minutes, and God, man, even though I'm only watched from about 7 minutes, 13 minutes, this episode is just amazing so far. I love Veldora and Ifrit's talk so much more than I did before, seeing it like in actual like people like voice acting form. And I like it how like you can tell that Ifrit isn't understanding Veldora so much because Veldora is like he like peered so much into Ramiro's like mind and world because that's like something that Ramiro also did to Shizu when he showed Shizu like his world and stuff like that, that like Veldora's like saying words that Ifrit doesn't understand. And I also like it how they mentioned it. They mentioned the tsundere part. Now I might need to look back into the mangas and look at all the short stories because I don't remember that conversation ever happening in the Veldora's journals at the short stories at the ending of the books. I don't remember that happening. But seeing it, if that's like anime original, that's the best thing ever. Like they're like actually acknowledging it, the tsundere part with him being like that. But I'm pretty sure that Ramiro also mentioned that in the first episode. So maybe this is just me being weirded out because I can't remember everything to the last detail. But seeing them mention it and then them saying about how cute it is, and like how Ifrit agrees with him. That's so weird. I don't know because I know that Ifrit ends up becoming super smart later on, like even smarter than he is right now because him spending time with Veldora makes him super smart. You know that Veldora is smart, even though that he has a little bit of like Milim in him because he's like smart and stupid at the same time. Even Veldora thinks it's cute, and then they start talking about that, and they also like they start narrating over events that are actually like a part of like what's happening. They start talking about what Ramiro's doing, like how Shizu died, and then talking about it. They even showed E point of view, saying about how he devoted his life to Leon, which is something that I don't remember him saying that whatsoever, but that would make sense about them being like very like non-compatible, even though that even though that so at some point Shizu did say that she was able to like like control Ifrit very well at some point when she was like at her oldest age or what no her like youngest age, like not when she was a kid but when she was like an adult. Her age makes no sense to me. I know that I guess she's just lived for a long time. I really need to look at her actual age. How long did she live for? Infred ended up mentioning that Veldora should really work on the thing. Now I don't know if they're gonna do it between the 13 minutes and by the end of this episode, but I hope. I hope that they have the great sage talk to Veldora and Ifrit because that happens a lot, especially especially great sage talking to Veldora because I really want to see that in the last few minutes. If they don't show that, that's a very wasted opportunity that they should have done. But yeah, that's what I'm hoping for the last episode. But so far, really enjoyed this episode so far. So yeah, I'll be back in a few minutes to review the rest of this. Okay, I am back after watching the whole entire rest of the episode. I waited until after like the end credit like ending song to see if there would be anything there, but no. They didn't even have enough time to do like a little tiny like 5 to 10 second like picture of the next season, even though that is gonna happen. So then, damn it, man, I thought that they would do the Great Sage thing, but they didn't. They didn't do the Great Sage scolding Veldora. They just didn't do it, even though that it would have only taken like 5 to 10 second scene, maybe even just 15 seconds. But the episode is like 24 minutes, 23 minutes, so. Damn man, that would have been great to see that because we're never going to see it. We're never going to see it anyways. They're probably not even going to do it next season. Would have been cool to do it this episode, man. They could have done it. I can't believe that one thing that was thrown in this is that Veldora thought that Ramiro's construction like business that he was a part of when he was a human, he thought that had to do with a mixer. Those are two separate things. Even I know what a mixer is. That has nothing to do with like construction work. Like, dude, like I mentioned him being like kind of like Milim and being sort of like an airhead, like in the earlier parts of my review. But seeing how it's actually true with him saying that, I guess he just needs to look more into Ramiro's mind in order to understand things. We even saw how there's one part that I really liked is how it was the most funniest thing in this whole entire episode. Like earlier, I thought that the jokes were funny, but when Ifrit was like boasting about him being super hot and super warm, him being like very like an energetic person because of how hot he is, he asks Veldora if he wants to touch him. Veldora touches him, and he's just like so warm, and then he just holds him, and he holds his hand for the rest of the episode. He literally holds his hand. I thought that he was just touching. I thought that Veldora was just touching Ifrit, but he was holding his hand. He was holding his hand because of how warm it is. Like that is just hilarious. And then like the one thing that he mentioned was it was changing his name to Veldia like that. Like I have no idea where that came from, but that was pretty weird for him to mention that. And then they also mentioned how manga is a very sacred text. I like it how Yuki likes manga because he's from the human world, and then I like it how Veldora thinks that it's sacred text, and then he ends up mentioning it to Ifrit. That'd be cool if Ifrit got into it, even though he's more of like a warrior type. This is just more. This is basically just me mentioning points of very like short things because not that much happened this episode. It's just them just talking. But if anyone wants to take a drinking game out of this game, take a shot every time Veldora mentions that he is the great Storm Dragon Veldora. Like he says that so much this episode, you could probably do like 20 or 30 shots. I might need to count. I'm probably not going to count, but it's probably more than 10, probably more than 20, maybe in between almost to 20, but you would get drunk by the end of this episode by how many times you do that. Maybe you might be on the edge. The thing that I mentioned is that I think I even saw this when I was reading the short stories in Veldora's journals in the manga, that Ifrit starts calling Ramiro the Great Ramiro because all of his servants and stuff like that say that he's the Great Ramiro. Like even Veldora thinks that he's the Great Ramiro. So now Ifrit talks about how he's the great Ramiro because of how much he's spending time with Veldora and how much he's seeing the way that he interacts with people. They even mentioned like how of a benevolent person he is. He's like, as long as you're good, then he's good with you. And then we also saw some foreshadowing how Ifrit talked about how if Ramiro ended up facing off against against Shizu's other student Hinata instead of Yuki, that Ramiro wouldn't stand a chance. And we also saw how towards the ending of this episode, we saw how when Ramiro was just standing on like away from the kingdom, and then we saw how Hinata was hiding behind a tree, that Veldora sensed her. I like it how like Ifrit couldn't sense her, Ramiro couldn't sense her, Rango couldn't sense her, but Veldora could do it. I guess he is like the great storm dragon, so of course he would be able to sense her. So we saw foreshadowing with that. Because if the next season doesn't start with those two fighting, I'm revolting. I'm gonna revolt if that doesn't happen. Like if she doesn't like catch up to him like as he's running away on Ranga. Another thing that we saw is how Ifrit ended up beating Veldora in Shogi, even though that earlier we saw how Veldora beat him, and then Veldora just kept on beating him, and then as Veldora got distracted, like looking at Ramiro in the other world, Ifrit won, and then Veldora just kept on like pushing, like trying to push it away, so he didn't lose. And it was kind of funny seeing him trying to push it away and push it away. It almost became like a bad joke, but because of how much he kept on denying his loss, it just got funnier and funnier. And then seeing Ifrit's like talk back to him, saying like, "Come on, just a minute, just a minute." And then he starts laughing. He starts just laughing and laughing and laughing. Because man, there's so many parts in this episode that are just great, even though that is just two characters talking to each other over a recap episode. One thing that I'd like to mention if there's people here that have only watched the anime, then just leave. I'm just talking to other people right now. So the one question I have, because I know spoilers for this series, even though I haven't caught up to that stuff. I know that Veldora at some point ends up leaving Ramiro, and he's able to like channel himself into a human form. Now, when that happens, can someone tell me what happens to Ifrit? Because I know what happens to Veldora, but what happens to Ifrit? Does Ifrit? Because I know that that in the Veldora journals, Ifrit mentions or I guess Veldora mentions to Ifrit that he will give Ifrit a body, or I think Veldora mentioned that if Ifrit becomes as strong as Veldora, then he would be able to maintain his own human form as a superior spirit. Is that what happens? Because I really want to know what happens to him. Like, is he still stuck in Ramir, or does he end up going into someone else and become someone else superior spirit? Because I'm really wondering what happens to him, if that's even mentioned at all. But yeah, that's all I need to talk about with this episode. So yeah, I can't wait until next year in 2020 when season 2 comes out. So yeah, if you enjoyed my review thoughts and my opinions on this episode, leave a like. If you didn't enjoy this at all, then leave a dislike. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video. And yeah, bye.